Joining us now is Representative Michael Baumgartner. He's a Republican of Washington and a member of the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs Committees. Welcome to the program, Congressman.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
So I just wanted to start, since you're on the Foreign Affairs Committee, of the news that we heard yesterday, broke by Axios and the Wall Street Journal, about this plan, peace plan that's negotiations happening between Washington and Russia. It says, the Wall Street Journal says the Trump administration pushes new plan to end Ukraine war. Kyiv will likely oppose the 28-point proposal containing demands it previously rejected. Just want to know what you know about that and what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I have read a few of the reports. Of course, we haven't seen, those were leaks. We haven't seen an official plan. So before I comment fully, I'll wait until it's a total plan. But, you know, the U.S. interest in Ukraine remain the same. We need to make sure that Vladimir Putin is unsuccessful in his attempts to take over Ukraine. We do want to avoid World War III, and the best way to do that is not to have an emboldened imperialist, expansionist Russia feeling like they can threaten the West. And we don't want Russian troops on the Polish border, and we need to make sure that Russia's unsuccessful in this terrible war that they started.
The reports indicate that Ukraine would have to give up land in eastern Ukraine. They have been very reluctant to agree, obviously, to giving up any of their land. What are your thoughts on that? Should they, in the interest of peace, should they be forced by Washington to do that?
Well, you know, naturally, any Ukrainian leader is going to have a tough time looking at his people and talking about the facts on the ground. You know, the facts on the ground are that Russia does occupy Crimea, and it's likely to stay that way for a while. And they also occupy significant portions of Ukrainians' east. That doesn't make it right, but that is a reality on the ground. And you know, if there is a moment where there is going to peace, which there eventually will, hopefully it will start probably most practically with a ceasefire and a détente along whatever current lines there are. But there's going to be some hard realities for everyone in that. Peace is never easy. But again, what the U.S. interest is that there's not emboldened expansionist Russia feeling like they can continue to threaten the West.
The Epstein Files Transparency Act was signed into law yesterday. You voted for that. Are you concerned about any obstruction by the Justice Department or a partial release of the files?
No, I'm someone who's always supported full transparency with the Epstein files and that terrible issue. I don't have concerns from the Justice Department. I think what's notable is most of this recent information that came out, including that there was a Democratic member of Congress who was texting Jeffrey Epstein in real time during a congressional hearing, which I think is outrageous and shameful. But that information actually came because the Republican-led House Oversight Committee subpoenaed the Jeffrey Epstein estate. So that wasn't even an issue of the Department of Justice. So, you know, I'd like to see as much of the information out there as possible. Obviously, victims do need to be protected, and things like if there is child pornography in those files, I don't know if there is, but those sort of things, you know, should not be released. So, you know, there do need to be proper safeguards to protect victims and the innocent. But, you know, I think the American people want full answers on Jeffrey Epstein. I continue to want to know why he was given a sweetheart deal back in 2006 by the prosecutors, and would like to know, you know, where all the money came from. So I think the House Oversight Committee is doing a good job on those issues, and I think we'll get the answers the American people are looking for.
Attorney General Pam Bondi said yesterday, quote, there's information, new information, additional information. Congressman, do you have any idea what she might be referring to and what information we should be expecting to see?
Well, I think some of that information may be of what came out in the release to the House Oversight Committee from the subpoena that went to the Epstein estate. You know, I don't think anybody knew, for example, the extent of former Harvard President Larry Summers, his connection to Jeffrey Epstein, the fact that even after Jeffrey Epstein was a connected sex trafficker, that Epstein, he was asking Epstein for coaching lessons on how to seduce a woman. I mean, that's pretty gross, pretty weird for a guy that's a university president. If you had issues where we had these Democrat members still in contact with Jeffrey Epstein during a committee hearing, that's new information. And apparently, Democrat leader Hakeem Jeffries' fundraising firm, if not, I don't know whether it was Jeffries himself, but I think at least his fundraising firm was still soliciting campaign donations from Jeffrey Epstein even after he was a convicted sex trafficker. So that's some of the new information I didn't know 2 weeks ago. So that may be what Attorney General Bondi is speaking of.
Back to foreign affairs. On Tuesday, President Trump defended the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman over the killing of Washington Post journalist, opinion columnist Jamal Khashoggi. He said, quote, "Things happen," even though his own intelligence community, the CIA, during his term, pointed the finger at, definitely at MBS, that he had ordered the killing. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I was a State Department officer in Baghdad during the Iraq surge and used to work extensively in the Middle East 25 years ago. So, when I used to go to Saudi Arabia, there were bombs going off and it was very dangerous for Westerners to go there. And there were religious police who would come around with sticks and beat Saudi Arabian women if they were dressed improperly. What MBS has done, the new Saudi leader has tried to modernize the country and has made a lot of progress suppressing Islamic insurgents in that very dangerous part of the world. There's still a lot of challenges with Saudi Arabia, but they do have the world's second largest oil reserves. You have to be realistic about their relative geopolitical importance to the world. And none of that says you should excuse what went on with Khashoggi. That was a terrible incident, but it's President Trump's job to be the leader for the free world and deal with the practical realities of a very dangerous part of the world. And we need Saudi Arabia to help bring peace to the Middle East. We need them to join the Abraham Accords. Saudi Arabia was key in standing up to the Iranian nuclear threat. And we have Islamic insurgents still in Yemen and in Syria. And we have to have partnerships with the Saudi Arabians on those issues as well, too. So, the Khashoggi incident was a sad and significant issue in history, but it would be President Trump would not be doing his job to protect the American people if he dwelled on that incident as the only issue with regards to America and Saudi Arabia.